One of the things you need to know for the unit test are the types of clouds, and we're going to do a part also on weather forecasting, which has to do, weather forecasting is going to be determined by air masses. As we talked about yesterday, air masses are named for the temperature and moisture where they are formed. So a tropical air mass is hot because it forms in a warm area. A polar air mass is cold, it forms in a cold area. Continental is dry because it forms over land. And maritime is wet because it forms over water. These air masses are going to matter because as they run into each other, that's where we get fronts and rain and other weather systems. One of the other things you need to know is the types of clouds. There are three main types of clouds. You need to know their general altitude and what weather they are associated with. On the next slide, I have pictures of these, but you'll need to know cumulus, stratus, and cirrus. In general, just get the picture here. The cumulus clouds are generally the more fluffy white clouds that are associated with fair weather. You see them in the summer. You see them generally on sunny days, sometimes before a storm comes up. And they are at mid-altitude. Not especially high, not especially low. The second major type of clouds are stratus clouds. Stratus, which is a layered cloud. The stratus clouds are low-layered clouds. They are generally associated with stormy weather. And if it is overcast or foggy, those are stratus clouds. They are the lowest of the types of clouds, so they are lower altitude. The third type of cloud are the highest level clouds. These are cirrus clouds. They are thin and wispy. Generally, they're wind-blown. We see these a lot in the winter when the weather is changing. Or when it is mostly clear and sunny. Then, in addition to these three main cloud types, you can have combinations of the different cloud types. You could have a cumulonimbus. Nimbus means either rain or storm. So you can have cumulonimbus, and you could also have nimbostratus. And if we go back to this list, nimbostratus, rainy stratus clouds, cumulonimbus, and those are the very large anvil-shaped thunderheads that we get in the summer. And I'm going to show you a diagram of that. The nimbostratus clouds, we often get those when we have our thunderstorms. And what's happening with the nimbostratus clouds, you have warm air and you have cold air. As we talk about the air masses, we were talking about air masses a few minutes ago. You can look at the different types of air masses here. We have a warm air mass meeting up with a colder air mass. the colder air is denser. And so when these two air masses meet, the warm air goes up. That's an updraft. The winds go straight up. The cold air goes down. That's a downdraft. And you end up with these very tall clouds. The tropopause is up near the top of the troposphere. Pause means where it ends. So that's up near the top of the troposphere. The bottoms of these can be very low. Here along the Front Range, we're oftentimes at a very good viewing point to see these huge storm clouds form over eastern Colorado. And then you get rain happening here, thunderstorms. So again, we have our hot afternoon air and their cooler air moving in. The other thing that happens with these very large clouds is lightning and hail. So what ends up happening is because these clouds become so large, the static electricity, you get friction happening, so you get the negatively charged particles here, positively charged particles here, and just like when you scuff your feet across the carpet, at some point enough charge builds up that it needs to equalize, and that is a bolt of lightning. And much of the lightning we see is actually cloud to cloud lightning, just equalizing within the cloud or from one cloud to another. And it can, of course, come hit the ground as well. The third thing that happens in these storms that we get in the summertime, in addition to rain and lightning, we also get hail. And the hail happens because of a combination of a couple things. When we look back here with the updraft and the downdraft, what will oftentimes happen is the rain starts forming here. It gets caught in the updraft and it goes up here. What's the temperature like up here? Higher up in the atmosphere? It actually freezes up a little bit, gets heavier, and starts to fall. And sometimes these drafts are very strong. It blows up again. And so what you end up getting is hail. And the very large hailstones, if you've ever taken one and broken it in half, you could actually see the rings of ice as it formed being blown up into the cloud over and over again. You don't need to know these two types of lightning, but the cumulonimbus clouds form the thunderstorms.